Yo, YouTube, what's going on? All right, I'm just waiting for my boys to finish band practice here in the other room, and then me and Subconscious are gonna drop a podcast. So waiting for the sound to die down. I'm sorry if you guys hear any music in the background. They're pretty good though, so it's not gonna be anything annoying. At least I hope. All right, so I just wanted to hop in, make a quick video for you guys about a very popular subject in the semen retention community. Let's talk about female attraction. Let's talk about females in general and how this whole practice changes the way that we relate to them, the way we relate to ourselves first and foremost, the way we relate to God, and therefore the way we relate to the world around us. It's a foundational change. At least if you've been spilling your life force as a habit, as a natural course of events, a lot of guys, it's like a daily thing, like wake up, rub one out, take a shower, eat breakfast, you know what I mean? It's like just part of life. Even if you ask medical doctors, they will suggest you do it at least once a week for your prostate health. And I have not seen any good data on that. I've been doing research. I've been trying to see if there's any actual empirical scientific data on this that says it's bad not to release. And there's really nothing substantial. And there's no studies on what happens when you do abstain from releasing your seed for a long period of time. I imagine it would be hard to get funding for a study like that. Just the same way it's hard to get funding for studies about like what the sun does and what fasting does, even though we know these things work, you guys. So in this day and age where a lot of science is bought, we have to be our own kind of experiment with this stuff. Go 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever, without releasing and see what it does. Try a 1, 2, 3 day fast, see what happens. Experiment with your diet, things like this, see what happens, all right? So back to the subject at hand. We're talking about females, female attraction, and how do we relate to females? How do we deal with this issue of female attraction when we're doing our best to maintain our life force energy? And there are women out there that do want to exchange energy with us on that level. So here's what I've noticed, you guys, and this isn't exactly easy, but there's a few things that I've experienced over the past week that I think could be useful to anybody out there that has the same kind of goals that I do. So I've mentioned this in other videos. I always have to add this caveat that like I'm not doing this in order to get women. That for me, that would defeat the whole purpose. The whole purpose for me with this is to get out of that mentality, is to stop making everything I do about getting a woman like it used to be. It's about a change in mentality, which brings me closer to God. That's what it's about fundamentally. All the other benefits like increased confidence, like strength, like better recovery, like better sleep, like better dopamine activity in the brain, on and on and on. The benefits are seemingly endless, but those are all icing on the cake. The cake is that I respect myself. I love myself. And now I'm not distracted by this chasing something so that I can actually get busy manifesting the life that I really want for myself. Instead of having it always be off in the distance, it's like every day I get to put in work. And guess what happens? When you're a man who is purpose-driven, you're not following around every butt and pair of tits that you see. You're not trying to get in girls' pants. You're not out at the clubs with that hungry energy. You're hungry for something else. You're hungry for God, for righteousness, and for building yourself up. You're putting in work on a regular basis. That shows. People notice it. People notice how focused you are, how driven you are. And then the fruits of those labors start to become evident. You start to attract more things. You start to have an easier time managing your time, your money, managing your food intake. You have more energy for exercise. All of these things make you more attractive to women. And not only that, but your energy. You're purifying from the inside out. So you're no longer a threat. So a lot of women are rightfully, threatened by men or annoyed with men, or like, especially really beautiful women. Like, men become almost like a nuisance. It's like, would you just stop getting in my DMs? Will you stop trying to do that certain thing? Of course, there are women that are that way too, and they're always trying to do that. And those are definitely women that us retainers want to avoid, and they stick out like a sore thumb. Once you really start to clarify and start to receive the mental benefits of this and the discernment, those women start to stick out like a sore thumb, and they really stop being so attractive. The ones that wear very skimpy, revealing outfits and sort of put that energy forward, like, yo, I'm easy. It's basically what they're saying. And for us, it's like, why do I want something so easy? Especially when you've put in time and work and energy into abstaining, because it's not easy. This is not an easy thing we're doing, you guys. So I definitely have my days, man. And so for the last week, I don't know what's going on with me, but the dreams are back, man. Very, very intense dreams. I'm like fully, all night long. I wake up just, and it tends to kind of follow me throughout the day, and I'm definitely feeling more inclined towards wanting a female and wanting to express my sexual energy in that way. So I've gotten through it though. So I had a series of really difficult days. And I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that I have been experiencing more of this female attraction. I've been getting more attention. I've been having more and more women kind of pursue me. And so I think this got my head wandering, and then things happen in dreams. And then that reminds me of like, oh, this is that thing that I'm not doing anymore. And then, man, it kind of sounds nice to do that. And it feels like I have this like growing energy in my root, in my what, right down here. And guys, if this is too graphic, I'm sorry, but the actual size of my equipment has increased during this 6+ months of retention. I'm sure my sperm count's gone up. My fertility is increased, my masculinity, my testosterone, they're all increased, which means that I'm producing more pheromones, which means that I'm more attractive to the opposite sex, you guys. And not only that, but my libido is up. So it's a test, especially when you have beautiful women kind of like making themselves available to you. And then you're faced with a decision. Am I going to pursue this? Am I going to take the risk of putting myself into temptation? Or am I going to avoid this situation? And that's a situation by situation thing. I don't want to tell anybody how to live their lives. Me personally, I'm treading with extreme caution. Anytime a woman seems to be physically attracted to me, I'm immediately vetting her and trying to figure out if she's in that lustful mentality. It's great if she's attracted to me. That's great. I'm cool with that. It's just, I don't want this lustful sort of attraction where it's going to be like, let's go straight to the bed, or where they want me in that way. At least not right away. I want a woman that respects herself and respects what I'm doing enough to wait, to spend a lot of time getting to know each other before anything like that even is on the table. So, in terms of this energy getting overwhelming, like I've been overwhelmed with it lately to the point where I've been coping in some unhealthy ways. Now, I haven't relapsed, I haven't released, and I haven't gone out and sought out a woman to help me do that. However, I've found it more difficult to stick to my diet. And so instead it's like food cravings. I'm craving like sugary foods that I don't normally eat. And what I realized was that was my way of trying to ground this energy, because on a level, I know those kinds of foods will make me feel kind of tired and subdued and relaxed. And I'm kind of yearning for that energy of relaxation because I feel so charged because my root. So really what I had to do, you guys, was I had to start transmuting that energy. And it got really difficult for me because on training days as a weightlifter, when I'm training super hard in the gym, that tends to do it. That transmutes the energy. And that does it for me. Like, I'm good, I'm treated. But on days where I'm resting from that, that's part of the journey too, right? If I want to grow in physical ways, I have to rest. I have to take these days off, and it's on those days off that I find myself like, oh man, what do I do with this energy? So You guys, I've brought breath work into the picture. I've been doing some of the Wim Hof style breathing, and that's helping tremendously, doing a lot of grounding out into nature, spending time around trees, barefoot on the earth, and doing these conscious breathing practices. I find that really helps me ground and move the energy around. And so not only that, but I've started to put more energy into creative things. I've started to pick up the guitar more often and just focus on creating without any thought of, is this good, is this bad, whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is that I'm creating, that this energy is flowing, it's going somewhere, it's not just sitting there. That's when we get into troubles, when that energy just sits there. So we've got to stay in motion. We got to stay in motion in ways that are wise, that we're not going to get injured. Don't overdo it. Take it from me. I'm somebody that's overdone it in the past. I'm learning these lessons as I go. So it's just as important to work in as it is to work out. The point is that we do both, and there's this constant sort of expression of creative energy, and then this reflection and this recovery period of going inward, breathing, exhaling is a perfect example of that. That's part of why breath work is so potent, not to mention all the physiological effects, which I could save for a whole other video. But all right, this game is not about getting women, all right? It's not about getting stronger, getting more handsome, any of these things. It's not about vanity, okay? It's a spiritual practice at its core, and as long as we keep that in the forefront of our minds and make that our guidance system, that we are doing this to get closer to God, and we're in contact with God, we're putting God first, we're asking God, what do you want from me? How should I walk my walk? How should I talk my talk? How am I doing, God? Take those moments to check in, and God's going to deliver on that. When you approach God with sincerity in your heart, with purity, when you're abstaining, you're living in righteousness, especially if you're fasting, you've got God's attention, and God is going to deliver. He's going to deliver you from evil, from temptation, and he's going to protect you, and he's going to guide you. All right? I'll put that on everything. So with that, peace and blessings. Signing out.